Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. So this tutorial is a continuation of our Flask API, Flask API and MongoDB series. So in this tutorial, we're going to go ahead and actually build the CRUD functionality. So I'll build it if the video is too long, then I'll break it into two parts. So there'll be the first one and the second one. But if the video is not too long, then I'll keep all of it in one video. So let's get started. So in the last tutorial, I've been able to build this so far. Let me just bring back the terminal so that I can show what you guys did so far. So if I just did an else, you can see I'm in the project directory here. So I'm going to go ahead and actually start my anaconda environment. So I'm going to deactivate my anaconda environment. If you don't have anaconda, then you don't have to do this step. Okay, so I'm going to now go to activate my virtual environment. So I'm going to go into source vnv bin, and then I'm going to activate my virtual environment. So okay, I made a typo there. This is actually bin. Okay, make sure you have that right, and then activate. Okay, so now that my virtual environment is activated, I can go ahead and actually run the Python file. So I'm going to go Python and then run.py, and then I can go ahead and actually run that file, and this is going to just bring us to where we left off from last time. So I'm going to open this. So you can just press shift on your keyboard and then hit this if you're on Linux, and if you're on Windows, I don't know how you do this, but you can just simply copy this and paste it in your browser, and then paste it here, then you'll be able to get that. So if you're on Windows, what you simply do is you come in here, you just copy this link. So you can go ahead and actually copy this link, then you can go back to your terminal to your browser, and then you just paste it there, and then you press enter. Okay, so now this we have reached so far, and you have been able to build the form. So if I go to /add to do, you can see I have that form right there. Okay, so in the last tutorial we did a mistake doing the forms, so let's go ahead and actually fix that. I realized we did an error when making the forms. So if I go to add to do, add-to-do.html, so what you can .html, what you can see is that we did an error here. So what you can do is that you can select this is not a spelling of errors has an arrow, okay, after that one. So what we're simply going to do, I'm going to select this, all of it, and then going to be display all sorry, I'm going to select all of that and basically going to replace it. Okay, that's what I mean to say. Okay, sorry for the my error as well. So to fix those errors, what I'm going to do, I'm going to select this, and I'm going to use the multi-select tool. So I'm going to just replace all of this by using the multi-select tool. If you're on Windows, I don't know what the multi-select tool is, but you can just Google that. So this is the form.name.errors. Okay, and then you can simply press enter, and then Control Z, and then that should be replaced. That should replace it for all the other parts of the code. Okay, so that error gets fixed just by doing that. So yeah, that's one error that I wanted us to fix, and I forgot in the last tutorial that we didn't fix that error. So that error is basically fixed. So now we can go back to our route.py, and in our route.py we're going to get two requests. One of them will be a post request, and another will be a get request. How do you specify methods, get methods in Python, or post methods basically in Python? So what you do is just say methods, and then methods in here will be equals to a list, and the list will have there'll be a post in here, and then there'll be a get methods. Okay, because this can be a get or a post. Okay, so the method is going to be either get or a post method. So now you're going to check here, you're saying if request dot method is a post method. So if it's a post method, then this is what we're going to do. So if the request.method is a post method, then what we'll do is very simple. What we, this is a string. Okay, basically this is a string. So if request.method request.method equals to post, then you're going to do this. So request, make sure you get the spelling right. Okay, so now that we have this, I'm going to pass it for now. I'm going to pass this for now, and then what we're simply going to do in here is that you're going to check if the request method is a post method. And if it's a post method, what you're going to do is you're going to create a form, and the form data is going to, the form is going to have request.data. So I'm going to copy this. So what you simply need to do is to copy this part over here. You just copy this part, you can just copy it and then paste it here, replace it with this one, and then you can now check in here. Going to pass in the method as the data as a request.form. Okay, so this is going to now check if the request, if the data is there. Now what you're going to do is that you're going to create the form, and the form is going to contain the request.data, and the request.data, it contains the data that the user is going to be passing in. Okay, so now that we have that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to do underscore name, and then this will be the name of the form of the data from the form. So we're going to do form dot name dot data, and this is going to get us the data. And then we're going to get to do underscore description. It's going to be form dot description dot data, just like that. And then we're going to get the last one to do underscore completed, or you can just say completed. Basically you can just say completed, completed, just like this. And this is just going to be form dot completed dot data, just like that. Okay, now that we have the to do, the description and the data, and then if it's completed or not completed, now we can make a request to the backend and then save this to our database. So the thing we're going to do, we're going to db dot we're going to call this to do underscore we can call it to do underscore flask, and then dot insert underscore 1. So this is just some MongoDB PyMongoDB substances that I've written in here. So the TB is a data from our database. So if you go back to our database, you can go back to our database, and if you go to init or underscore init.py, you can see we have that database right here. Okay, so that database has actually my code, so I'm not going to display that database for now. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this to do from our database. Okay, so this is actually my password for now, called with prints, but I'm going to change it later on. But for now, you can see my password is my DB is here, and it is just a MongoDB client. So I'm going to go back to my routes, and I'm going to go to my routes. I'm going to do dot insert main. So I did db dot flask to do underscore flask. So this to do underscore flask will be the name of our collection. So instead of this collection, I'm inserting something inside of that collection. Now you can have many collections. Okay, so you can call it, feel free to call a collection anything you want, but I'm going to call mine to do underscore flask. Okay, so this is the name of the collection. That's basically, so in that collection you're going to insert this, what you're going to insert here. Okay, so what you're going to insert there is very simple. What you're going to set, you're going to say name. It's very similar to JSON, and you're going to say to do underscore name, and then you're going to pass in the description. So the description is going to be to do underscore description, and then you're going to pass in the completed. So we're going to pass in completed. Completed is going to be underscore, it's going to be completed. So this completed just like that. And then I also want to pass in the date. Okay, so this one to pass in the date, so you can keep track of when this happens. So date completed, and the date completed is going to be date time. We need to import date time. So we need to import data from here. So you need to come up here and say from date time, you're going to be importing date time. Okay, so we're going to come down here, you're going to say date time dot utc now. Okay, and then you're going to call it. Okay, make sure that you call it. This is a function, and you call it. It's going to return to us the current date of this, and you're going to insert it into that record. So that's basically it. And then from there, we can now inform the user that we can flash a message to the user, tell him that the user that their information has been saved to a database. So we're going to go to Flask, and from Flask here, I'm going to import something else called sorry, this is a comma, and then flash. Okay, great. So down here, you're going to come here, and you're going to say you're going to flash some the user, just giving the user a warning. So I'm going to not a warning, just flashing a message to the user, telling him this flash message could be warnings, could be anything. So we're going to be flashing a message to the user, and this message will be to do successfully inserted, or something else successfully added. Okay, let's go successfully added, and then you can say that this is going to be of type success. So it's going to be a message of type success. So Flash has many methods. Okay, so one of them can be success, a warning, other things like that, danger and stuff like that. So it is used to determine which kind of message it is, and then you can use it to style a message later on that we're going to see later on. So don't worry about that. We'll reach that part where we're going to see how we're going to use that this method right here. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to return the user back to the return the user back to the front page. So it is just going to be / and then just like that, just /. Okay, now what else if there was an error? So we're going to say else if it was not a get request, if it was not a post request, then it should be it's a get request. So what to simply do is just simply return that form to the user, and then at the end of the day we have this still right there, everything still remains the same. So that's basically it for this inserting part of the video. So now let's try this out. Let's save this, and then let's go back to our terminal, and then let's clear this, and I'm going to try to run this one more time, and then we can go back to, let's wait for this to run up, and then we can go back to the part of the here. So what you can do is that you can just refresh this for a while, then have an error request is not defined. So let's go back and see where the error is, and this was giving us a warning all the time. So it says that request is not defined. So so let's see where the error is. So we just said app.route, and then this is gonna be a get, and then the method we have to specify the method as post and a get method, and I said post, and then if request.method is equals to route. So I think we have to import request from here. So I forgot to import that. So request, and then we import request from there. Okay, and then this DB, we didn't actually import this DB from the database. That's why it's giving us that error. So we have to say from application we want to import DB. Okay, from application you want to import DB, and that all error should go away. So sorry for that, it was my bad, I forgot to import these two lines. So make sure that you import Flask, Flash, and then request, and also you import from application, you import the DB. Okay, for that to work. Also make sure that you import the datetime from datetime, import datetime, so you can use the UTC now function right here. So now that we have that settled, let's go back to the code, and then let's clear the terminal, and then let's run that that function one more time. And then we can here, if you here you can just go ahead and refresh. So now that you can go ahead and actually just submit anything, maybe go for breakfast, and then go for breakfast early or something. Let's go for breakfast early, and then in here we said completed is false, so I'm going to be submit, and then let's see what is happening. So this is going to make a request to our backend, which is going to be our database right here, and then it's going to save that content inside of our database. So we have an error for now, authentication failed for no message, bad authentication code. So we have an authentication code in our errors in our message, so it failed to insert the data in here when you try to insert it. So I'm just going to go back in here, and then I try to change my password, and then I'll be back, because I remember that I have changed my password, but I didn't actually reverse it before recording this video. So sorry for that, guys. I'll just change my password and then be back. So guys, I'm back, and I fixed that error. So let me just try to refresh this again, and then I'm going to submit this form again, and let's see what happens. So now the form has been submitted. So I'm just going to go back in here and then repeat that whole process again of trying to add underscore to do, and then I'll repeat that whole process again. So go for breakfast, then go get breakfast breakfast easily, okay, easily or something, I don't know, get breakfast easily, and then I'm going to leave it to be false, and I'm going to submit, and this is going to make a request to our backend. And if you go in here, you can go back to collections, I think it should show us the collections here. So go back to collections, and then it should show us here. So you can see Flask to do underscore Flask, that's our database, our collection. So you can see in here have that content in there. So go for breakfast easily, and then go for breakfast early. Okay, so we have that content saved inside of our database. Okay, so sorry for those errors, I forgot to update my my password settings. I changed them earlier before making this tutorial. So now that works fine, and you're being able now to put our data into our database. Now how do you retrieve the data and display it to the user? So that's what we're going to solve now. So what we're going to solve now is going to retrieve the data and then display to the user. So first let's go in here into routes.py, and then let's write the logic to display the user info. Okay, so in here what you're simply going to do is not call this one index, you're going to call it get it's going to be get underscore to dos. Okay, get to dos. Okay, so in here what you're going to do is that you're going to get those to dos from from the database. So we're going to call it to dos. It's going to be an empty list, so make sure I assign that an empty list, and then I'm going to now go into a follow. So for to do in db, I'm going to call it to do, and then I'm going to call it to do, and then I'm going to call it to do, and then I'm going to call it to do, and then I'm going to call it to do, and then I'm going to call it to do, and then I'm going to call it to do, and then I'm going to call it to do, and then I'm going to call it to do, and then I'm going to call it to do, and then I'm going to call it to do, and then I'm going to call it to do, and then I'm going to call it to do, and then I'm going to call it to do, and then I'm going to call it to do, and then I'm going to call it to do, and then I'm going to call it to do, and then I'm going to call it to do, and then I'm going to call it to do, and then I'm going to call it to do, and then I'm going to call it to do, and then I'm going to call it to do, and then I'm going to call it to do, and then I'm going to call it to do, and then I'm going to call it to do, and then I'm going to call it to do, and then I'm going to call it to do, and then I'm going to call it to do, and then I'm going to call it to do, and then I'm going to call it to do, and then I'm going to call it to do, and then I'm going to call it to do, and then I'm going to call it to do, and then I'm going to db, we call it to do underscore flask, which you call it here to do underscore flask. Remember that name. This will be dot find. So find is going to return to you everything. Now you're going to find it and you're going to sort this in an order. Okay, so you're going to sort it based on the date underscore created. So, and then okay, so what you're going to do is here is you have date created field, right? Date completed. We're going to just copy that and then place it in here. So you're going to sort it based on a date completed. So and then you're going to now this actually should be date created. Okay, so let's just call it date created because it makes more sense rather than date completed. So date created. So I'm going to call this also date created. So I'm going to copy that and paste it in here as well. So you're going to get this and you're going to sort it in an ascending order. So you're going to keep a -1 there. So this is going to get the data and store it in a descending order for us. And then for each of those to do for each of those to do, you're going to do to do, which is going to be to do's our database here. You're going to do to do for now. We're going to do to do, and then to do we're going to get the fields. So this is going to be underscore id, because if you go back to the back end here, you can see the id is underscore id. So we're going to call it underscore id, and then what you're going to do in here, you're going to assign it to a certain value. So we're going to say str, we're going to convert it to a string, and then to do sorry, this is to do, we're going to get the id field. So to do underscore id. Okay, just like that. So now that's how you're going to do assign that to do to it, and we're going to do underscore to do date underscore completed. So this is actually date created, rather, my bad. So date created, and this is going to be to do, and then to do we're going to get the date created. So date underscore created, the date created, and then you're going to sort this dot strf time. So we're going to sort strf time, and then you're going to pass in this parameter. So we're going to pass in percentage sign. So percentage sign, make sure that you get that right. So you type in a percentage sign and then a b, and then another space, and then a percentage sign again, and then a d, and then space rather, and then a percentage sign, and then capital Y. So percentage sign and then capital Y, and then a space, and then a capital sign and hour, and then the day. So we're going to go percentage sign and then capital H space. We're going to now keep a space here. So I'm going to do percentage sign and then capital M, and then percentage sign, and then capital S. Okay, so it's a bit confusing, but just bear with me. So you have the day, the B, the D, the Y, the H, the M, and then the S. So that's basically it for what you have to do. So this is strf time, strf, and then time, and then you put in these values. Okay, so we're going to get that from the database, and I'm going to now do to do's dot append, and we're going to append that to do. So to do's is our list here. We're going to add it to our list, and then you're going to return to do's. You're going to return to do's to the database. So to do equals to do. Okay, basically that's so to do's to do's. So to do's equals to do's. That's basically it. So we're going to return this to our backend template, and which is going to render it. So let me just explain to you this one more time. So just going to loop through all of this and get the data sorted based on their date in a reverse order, and then for each of these you have modified this field to be this data field that we want. Then you're simply adding this to a data to a list, and then you return that list to the user. And then in here in our user template, this is where you're going to display that form. So let's go ahead and actually display that form. So to display that form, what is very, very simple to do. We don't have to do much to display that form, but let's get to it. So to display that form, okay, so what we need to do is we need to write a for loop. So I'm just going to remove this, and I'm going to write a for loop here. So code base, okay, so this is a code block, and then it's going to be for to do in to do's, right? To do's is coming from a database, so let's end that for. So I'm going to go here, and then end for, just like that. And what you're going to do inside of each of this for loop is that you're going to display the content to display that form. So you're going to have a div, you're going to have a class. Class is going to, so this is going to be some bootstrap classes, and the class is going to be card, and then p-1. You're going to padding of 1, margin of going to be margin of 3. So margin of 3, and then you're going to close that if block. Okay, so instead of that if block, we're going to have another if block called class body. So we're going to have a card called class hyphen body. Okay, so great. So now instead of that card, what we're going to do, we're going to write an if statement. So we're going to write an if statement to display the content depending on whether it's true or false. So we're going to the first for loop is going to be here. So we're going to do this. We're going to say that we're going to say if to do dot completed dot completed. So completed is going to be one of the fields from our database, so this is going to be completed. So let me just show you back the field that we have here. So if I go back here, you can see completed. So I'm going to get that field. I'm going to check if whether it is true or false. Okay, and if is equals to true, right, I'm going to true. If is equals to true, what you're simply going to do is make sure that I end this if and then if block. So I'm going to end that if block. So end if. Okay, and if. Okay, so now in here what we're going to do is that whenever it is true, what you're going to do, we're going to display a h5 here, and you're going to have these following classes attached to this. So we're going to have a class, and a class is going to have a card hyphen title, so a card title, and then you're going to have yeah, that's basically what you're going to have. So instead of our card, you're going to have a del. So we're going to have a del. So if it's completed, you're going to have a del, and then instead of that del, you're going to now have that class to do dot name in there. Okay, so that's basically it for the first if statement, and then you're going to have an else in case it's not false. Okay, so in case the completed is not true, so we're going to have else, and then in this else block, what you're going to do in here, you're going to say a h5 again. You're going to have a h5 okay, so let me show you get that right. So h5, and then instead of there, going to have a class. So we're going to have a class, and the class is going to be card hyphen title, just like that. And then what you're going to do in here, you're going to now write the code to display the content of that card, of that to do. So we're going to do to do dot name. Okay, so if the to do name is completed, you're going to have the name, and then the del, what is going to do is going to draw a line through that name, right, like to display that it's cancelled, delete, right. So else you're just going to have the name plain without the line through it. So that's basically what you have done so far. So now below that, you're going to now display the paragraph tag. So we're going to have a p tag. It's going to have a class of a card dash card dash text, and then we're going to have text dash muted, text dash muted. So we're going to have muted here, and then that's all we're going to have for that class. And then in here we're going to have the to do. So we're going to call the keep variable there. It's going to be to do dot date underscore created. Okay, we're going to have the date, and then below. So now that you have that, I'm going to ahead and I'm going to copy this. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it down here, and then you're going to remove this part. It's just going to be text card dash text. This is going to be this description, just like that, and then that's all we need to do. And then below in here you can have some some tags that is going to take you to a specific part, but now we'll not do that part. We'll just save this thing and then try to check if it displays properly. Okay, so I'm going to save this thing for now, and then go back into my terminal and then make sure that I have that running, and then we'll go back to the front end here, and then we'll go back to our app and then try to refresh. Now what you should get is basically this displaying of that error, but we got an error date created. So what the reason we're getting that error date created is because we have these two which have a date completed. What you can do is that I think you can just delete them. So you can just delete them like this, and then delete, and then we can also go here, and then we can also delete this. So you can just go here and also delete this. So you can go delete. Okay, so now that we have that deleted, we can go back to our front end, and then what you can do in here is you can just go ahead and actually hit submit. This is going to submit it, and it's going to return back to us to this front page, and this front page is just the basic the front part of our index of our URL without any / anything. So you can see now we have that right there. So that's basically it for now. But now we have that stuff there. So now let's write the functionality to be able to update these things, so the updates can have the different information that we need. So you can see the get breakfast, and then the time that has been created, and then the description, what you wanted to do basically. So now that we have that, now everything works fine, right? So we have the get and the post functionality working. So what we need to do now is to now write the logic to now write the logic for the update and the delete functionality. Okay, so great. Now what we want to do is just we want to start with writing the logic for the update functionality, okay, and then later we'll go for the delete functionality. Okay, so now in here what you can just basically do is you can write the logic for delete. So for delete it is going to be at app.route route, and then in here going to have update, this is going to be / rather, so / update and then underscore update to do. And then what we need to do is that we need to take a dynamic URL. Okay, so the dynamic URL is going to have a part of it that changes. Now the part of it that changes is going to be our ID. Now our ID, to create a dynamic field in Flask is very easy. This is how you create a dynamic field in Flask. So we're going to put in your ID for now. Just wait a minute, I'll explain to you more about that. So we're going to have a method here, and the method is going to be the HTTP methods. So we're going to have a method here. It's going to be a list, and the methods here are going to be post method and a get method. So we're going to post method, and then you're going to also put in here a get method, so get and post method. And then you're going to now go in here and define the function get. This will be update underscore to do, and then you're going to get the ID from here, so ID. Then I'm going to pass this for now. So let me explain to you what it means by dynamic IDs in Python. So this is going to be dynamic value in Python. It means it's going to change depending on the user inputs, okay, or what the user clicks on. That's what basically a dynamic URL is basically in Python, and I'll explain to you more as we go along. Okay, so great. Now that we have that there, let's go ahead and actually write this method for the delete for the update functionality. So we're going to check if request dot method. If the request method, if the request method is going to be a post method, so it's going to be a string, so post, so it's going to be a string here, so this is going to be a post method. So if it's a post method, this is what we're going to do. So if it's a post method, we're going to now create a form, and the form is going to be to do instance. So we're going to be to do form, and then you're going to pass in request, so this is going to be request dot form. Okay, great. So now if the request is a post method, we're going to get the data from the form. So I'm just basically going to copy this from here, so it's going to be the same stuff. I'm going to copy it and then paste it right here. So we're going to get the to do name, the description, and then completed. Now we're going to get this from there, and then we're going to now do the update. So we're going to do db underscore flask, which is the name of our document, dot find one and replace. Okay, so find one and update, rather find one and update. So what you're going to pass in here is going to be the following. So the first one you're going to pass in is underscore ID, and we're passing it underscore ID because we're looking for this ID field, right? So if I bring you back here, so if I try to get this, let me try to get this from the database. So now this is loading. So what we're going to get right now, we have only one to do. So we're trying to get the ID field. So we're going to get the ID because the ID is a unique identifier for all these fields. So we're going to get the ID field. Now we need to import something from Python. So this we need to import from bson import objects. So we're going to come up here, and then we're going to import this. So we're going to say from bson import ID is going to call object ID. Okay, make sure that you have that imported, and then you come down here, going to say ID. You're going to now ID is going to be of type. You're going to say that ID is going to be of type object. This is going to be object ID, and then you pass in that ID that you get from the user, and this ID is the one that we pass in here. So if I highlight this, you can see this ID and this is ID. So we get it from here, we pass it down here, and then we pass it here. Okay, so we're going to get that ID, and then you're going to say that you're going to get that ID, and then you're going to now say that say the following. So we're going to say this one, and then I'm going to pass in the dollar sign symbol, which is going to be this one, and then you're going to say set, and then you're going to now all of this is going to be a string. So my bad. So this is going to be a string. So make sure this is a string. So set, and then you're going to now set this set is a capital small letter S. Okay, I got it right. So then you're going to set these following fields. Okay, you're going to pass in the following data. The first one is going to be name. Okay, so it's going to be the name, and the name is going to be form dot name dot data. Okay, the data. okay, you already got it from here, so you just have to say form you have to say that to do underscore name. Okay, that's what you have to say, and then you have to repeat the same thing for the other field. So you can just basically also copy this from here and then paste it there also. So it's going to paste it here just to avoid typing it all over again. So paste it there. So that's basically it. You're going to have the name, the to do description, the completed, and the date completed. That's all you're going to have, and then you're going to say you're going to flash a message to the user. Now you're going to deal with these flash messages. Okay, for now I'm just going to continue with this, and I'll show you how to do this flash message. So to do successfully updated, and then you're going to keep the type to be success, so make sure it's a string, and then success. Okay, great. And then I haven't talked much about the flash tab. You can just go and research about it, but this tutorial, just know that it's basically used to return something to the user, and there are different methods, there are different functions that you can pass in here. So the first function is the first argument is a message, and then the other argument is a message type. Okay, so there is a success, there is warning, there is info, and other stuff like that. So we're just using success because that's a success, right? So it's going to get return. This is going to be a return, and then you're going to return redirect, and then you're going to return redirect. You're going to return the user to the home page. Okay, what if something, or what if the person didn't make that request? You're going to do an else, and then you're going to do form. You're going to do to do form, just like that. And then what you're simply going to do, you're going to say to do equals to db dot to do underscore flask, and then you're going to do dot find 1 or a 404. So find 1 or a 404. So it's going to find it or return to user an error. So this basically means find it or return to user an error. So this is what is going to do. So what you're going to pass in here is going to be the following. So we're going to pass in underscore id, and the id type is going to be the id that you just got from the front end. So it's going to be the id database, and you're going to pass in that id that you got from the front end. You're going to get that from the database. What you're simply going to do is you're going to say form dot name dot data is going to be equals to the to do dot get underscore name. You're going to pass in string here name, and then you're going to pass in null here. So if you get it or returns null. Okay, so null none, and then you're going to say form dot description. So going to be description dot data equals to do dot get, and you're going to pass in here the description, and then you're going to pass in or none. So you're going to default back to none. So none. Then you're going to pass in form dot completed dot data is going to be this is going to be to do, is going to be to do dot get, and you're going to pass in completed. The reason we're using get is that because this is going to return a dictionary, this is going to return a dictionary, that's why we're using the get method. So this is going to be completed. Okay, and then you're going to pass in or none. Okay, so if you don't find it, return to none. Okay, and then that's basically it for now. And then you're going to return render template. This is going to be add, so this is going to be add underscore to do add underscore to do dot html, and then you're going to pass in here form equals to form. That's basically it. So that's basically it for now. So we're going to try to get this from the database. If you try to get it, you will then return to the user, and then we'll filter by that object. And then if you don't get anything to update to it, you're guys going to get the data and then fill this, get this from the database, from the back end, and then fill the form with the current user data that we got. So if the user makes a get request, the method is not going to be post. No, the method is going to be get. So they're not going to hit this part. So what is going to happen is going to go to this part, create a form, fill in with this data, get the to do from the database if it exists, and then fill the form with that to do. So when the user goes there on the page initially, it's going to find the form already pre-filled. So the one that is doing the part of the code that does the pre-filling is this part of here. It fills the form before the user even updates it. And then if the user updates it and submits it, it's going to now get in here and then create a form with that request, and then get the data and then submit to the database, and then return the user to the home page. Okay, so that's basically it. So this is going to fill the form if the user makes a request. So the form will be already filled with the user's data, and then if the user makes a request to update the data, this is how we update the data from. Okay, so I hope this makes sense to you. That's why you have that if and else statement right there. So now that we have that, let's go ahead and actually try to check the functionality of this. So we can just go back to our code. So right now this functionality won't work. So what we have to do is we have to make it actually add a button for the user to be able to make this functionality to work. So you have to go to view to dos, and then in here we're going to now add in something. So what you're going to add in, you're going to add a button, a button that the user can click, and whenever the user clicks it, the user can be able to make the updates and stuff like that. So what you're going to do, you're going to add an anchor tag here, and then you're going to pass in a href. So this is how we pass in a href. So href is going to be this. Okay, you're going to pass in a href as this. So this is going to be a string, so make sure that that href is a string. Okay, so now we can delete this part, and then what you're going to do in here, you're going to say url _4, and then you need to import this. So we need to go back to our in here, and then we need to import from Flask, import this, and also import url4. Okay, make sure that you have that imported. So go back in here and then say url4. You want to go to the update function right now. You want to go to the update function. Now we can't use double quotation marks inside of the follow, because we have used double quotation marks outside. So in here we only have to use single quotation marks. Okay, so we want to access this route right here. So I'm going to copy this. So make sure you copy the name of the route function, not the name of the route. It's not the name of the URL to the route, but the name of the route function. So we're going to paste that there. And then you're going to now pass in, it's going to expect a to do, right? So you're going to be expecting a to do, and the to do is going to be to do dot underscore id. That's what we're going to pass in there, and then you're going to give it a class. So we're going to give it a class. Class is going to be btn dash this is going to be info btn dash sm. That's like that. And then you're going to now close that off. You're going to call this one update. So go save that again, and then you can go back to the front end. So I'm just going to minimize this for now, and this is how the code looks like. So you're going to now create a function that's going to return to the to do database with this id argument, and this argument is going to be the id of the specific to do, and then the class is going to be these classes right here. So I'm just going to go back to the database and then try to run that again. So we have an error. It says that got unexpected error queue argument method. Okay, so we have an argument method. It's going to be, it's supposed to be go to routes, and then it's supposed to be methods. Okay, not method, so methods. So yeah, now that we have done, basically we can go ahead and actually refresh, restart the server again, and then now we can go back to the front end. So we can go back here, and then we can go back here and then try to refresh it. Now you can see a button going to appear right here at the bottom, and this function, this button is going to give us the ability to update our form. Okay, it's a bit slow. We have an error, so unexpected token id. So let's see where the error is. So render template view to do. So we have an error there. So it says that this is where the error is. So this is not supposed to be this is, I actually keep the raw code in the wrong place. So let me see. Let's see where the code is. Okay, we're getting an error right here. So let me just go back to the code, and then let's go to views, and then let's see where the issue is. So it says that href, and then you're saying that equals to this url4, and then you're passing update to do, and then you have passed in the id. Okay, so I forgot the comma right there, so it's a comma and then id. Okay, so I hope that fixes our error. So let's go back here and then try to refresh this. So now you can see you have that error, that update function right there. So let me just change this to be btn outline. Okay, let me just change it to be btn here, btn info, btn this is btn outline dash info. Okay, so let me just go back to the front end, and then let's try to refresh this. So we have that update functionality. So if I click on update, it's going to bring us to this form, and the form has already been pre-filled for us with the user's data. So I'm going to change this to be true, and then make an update. So it's going to now be update, and you can see that it has been true. So that's why you have that line crossing right through it. So everything works fine. So if you now change even this one, you can just say get breakfast this morning, and then you can go ahead and actually make that update. You can see get breakfast this morning, and I can change this one to be false, and then you can make this statement. You can see get breakfast this morning has not been cancelled. Okay, so great. So now that's a functionality to do the update functionality. So now let's go to the part where you need to, this is the last part where you're going to write the functionality to deal with the deleting of the to do. Okay, Now this is fairly simple. So what you can simply go to do is that you have to go into our app here, and then in here we can just type it in here. So you can say at app.route, and then this is decorators in Python. If you know what decorators are, I have a whole series on decorators on my YouTube channel, so you can find that out. So this is going to be delete, so it's going to be delete underscore to do, and then you're going to pass in that ID of the path that you want to delete. So we're going to create a dynamic URL, and then you're going to specify yeah, that's basically it for now. And then here, yeah, and then here we're going to def, and then call it delete underscore to do, and then you're going to pass in that ID. You're going to expect that ID from the user, and then you're going to we're going to do db to do underscore flask, which is the name of the collection, dot find one and delete. So find one and delete, you're going to pass in the ID, and the ID is going to be underscore, it's going to be underscore ID, and the ID is going to be of type object ID, and pass in that ID. That's all we need to do. And then after deleting it, you're going to just flash a message the user, so flash, and then you're going to do sorry, this is the to do deleted. Okay, and then deleted, and you're going to pass in a type success. So we haven't even done with the we haven't even done the function to this about the flashing of the message. So let's go ahead and actually do that. So for now, we're going to return the user to return redirect and /. Okay, so if you're getting an error, make sure that you import this redirect as well. So import it from here, just have to add it here, redirect. Okay, that should solve that error for you. So this add it here, redirect. Okay, that should solve that error for you. So that's basically it. Okay, so now that we have that, these are some extra imports. I think they are new to Flask. The new version of Flask have this extra import, but mostly these are the imports that you're interested in. Okay, so you can just go ahead and actually delete them, but you can leave them for you can leave them if you want, but you can delete them also if you want. Okay, so now that we have that that done, we can go ahead and actually write the button to display the delete functionality. So we're going to add it here. We're going to simply take an anchor tag, and then we're going to add a href, and the href is going to be like the one up here. So sorry, it's going to be the URL and then _4. Then you're going to pass in here, sorry, this is going to be delete underscore to do, and then you're going to pass in the ID. It's going to be the ID that we got, and then basically that's it. And then you're going to pass in a class, and the class is going to be btn dash outline dash this is going to be danger, I believe. And then we're going to now have a btn dash sm. This will make a small button, and then we're going to call this one delete. Okay, so we can go ahead and actually save that, and then we can try this out in the terminal. Sorry, run this our server again, and then we can check this out. Okay, so if I just refresh this, we should have a button for deleting our Flask application right here. So you can sorry, for deleting our to do. So we have it right here, and now it's going to need to pass in the to do, and then what we need to do is it's not passing the to do.id. So let's check that. So it's going to just simply let me just check that out. So what I'm going to do is that we're going to pass in the ID right here, and then the ID is what is going to know how the ID is how it's going to know which to do to delete. So the reason we didn't get any ID here is because I didn't specify it. So we need to do delete underscore ID. So let me just bring back that. Let me just bring back view, and then yeah, this is it. So we're going to do delete to do.id. So I'm going to go ahead and actually save this, and then take my development server is running, and then refresh this. Okay, so if I refresh this now, this button should be able to delete it. It's going to pass in the ID. So if you look at the bottom right here, it goes away. Just look here for now, it displays the ID right here. So to do the local host, and then delete underscore to do, and then / the ID of that to do. So if I click on this, it's going to delete that to do, and then you see we have no to do right here. So if I click on this, it doesn't actually work. So what's left is actually to add those links and other stuff to our code. So that's very, very simple. So let's go and actually add those links and to display the alert and other messages that you have that you have created. So let's go back to layout.html. So below above this one, right, yes, we're going to create the tag to display the to display the alert messages. So what we're simply going to do is here, create a code block. So create a code block, and then inside of that code block, right, code block has two percentage sign. We're going to say with make sure this is a small letter, so it's going to be with messages in with messages equals to get underscore flashed. This is flashed underscore messages. So get flashed messages, and then we're going to pass in with underscore category with categories equals to true. So we're going to say get flash messages with category equals to true, and now we go ahead and actually end that with. So we're going to put another code block here in here, and then we're going to say end this one be end with. Okay, so inside of that block, we're going to now write another code block. So we're going to write the code block of the if. So we're going to say if messages, okay, you're going to check if messages. Now we can go ahead and actually end that if. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and actually end if. Okay, great. So we're going to say if messages, and then you're going to do for. We're going to take a code block for that for. So we're going to say for messages, for category comma message. So it's going to be category. So category comma message in messages. Okay, so you're going to get the category and the message from the messages, and then you're going to go ahead and actually end that end for. So we're going to say end for. So great. So in here, that's we're going to write the JavaScript script that you're going to do to display to user. So script, and then you're going to script. It's going to be script, and then you end that script. Yeah, so that's basically it. So what we're going to do is we're going to just fix that indentation. So in the script tag, what you're going to do in here is you're going to do swivel, okay, dot fire. So this is the JavaScript library for displaying the messages. So we're going to do fire, and then in here what you're going to do is you're going to create an object in here. We're going to create title. Okay, the title is going to be going to keep a code block here. It's going to be a string and then a code block. So it's going to be code block here. So it's going to be a variable tag, and it's going to be category. So category dot title, just like that. That's how we do it. And then you're going to keep a comma here, and then down here what you're going to do, we're going to do a text. The text is what you're going to display to the user, and the text is this simply going to be a message. So it's going to be this, and then you're going to keep message in here. So message, and you're going to keep a comma there. You're going to next field, and this next field is going to be icon. Then icon is going to be going to keep a string, a string, and then inside here you're going to write the category here, just simple category. Okay, just like that. And then you're going to now go and keep a comma here, and then you're going to display the next message. So this is going to be, next message is going to be close on confirm, and then this is going to be of type false. Going to be false there. So that's basically it. That's basically it for our code blocks in here. So this is going to be go to this one here. So going to go swivel and then dot fire, and then you're going to keep alert. This is the alert message, and then display and all that other messages. So that's basically it. So we're going to save that and then go back to our terminal, check our code. Our server is still running. So now we can go ahead and go to add. Now you see this add function doesn't work, but for now, first let's try to check if the other functionality works. So we're going to get breakfast, and then get breakfast first. Okay, breakfast first, and then you're going to keep false. Then you're going to submit that, and then you're going to bring it here. So now if you bring it here, it's not actually giving us any updates, any information telling us update or anything, but that is something that you can implement. So if I do update for now, get breakfast fast and easy. Okay, so I'm just going to keep it like that, and then update this. So it's going to bring us to this page. Now you can see that the swivel function is not working. The reason why it's not working is that we haven't added that to our code. So make sure you go in here and then copy that, So you're going to copy that, copy it, and then copy the CDN. This CDN we're just going to cdmpackage.com and then /Sweetalert. Okay, I'm also leaving the link in the description so that you guys can find this in the on the page. Okay, so what we're going to do in here, I'm just going to keep it up here. So we're just going to keep it up here. It's going to be a link, and then keep it right here, paste that where copied right there. So now that's great. So now that we have that, I can just go back to my work here and then go to update, then click on update. It actually doesn't work, so let me just see update easily. This shouldn't work. Also, the reason why it's not working is something that you have to find out. So let's find out why this is not working. So this is the CDN, so the content delivery network. So down here is let's check if they have typed everything right. So what you're going to do in here is that you have said swavel.fire, and then you have passed in these functions here. This function, I've called this function, you have passed in this JavaScript object, and the object you have passed in is you have passed in title, and the title is this one right here, category.title, and then the message you have passed in the message, and then you have passed in the category, and then on the on close confirm of type false. So yeah, that should work, but it refuses to work. So let's check to see why it's not working. So this is a script implement. Yeah, so there is an issue somewhere in our code. So let's try to find where that issue is. So let me save this, and then I'll try to start the development server again. Don't know why that error is coming from. So let me just start the development server again. So now that the development server is started, I can go back to the front end, and I can go to update, and then I can try to update it here. So get breakfast something this morning, and then go click on update, and then that still doesn't work. So if I click on delete, that should work. But let's first check the code. Okay, hello guys, I'm back. Okay, so I actually made a bit of error in my code. So I think the CDN that I got, which was this CDN, was actually giving me an error in here. So I use the CDN from Bootstrap that I use in my source code for Bootstrap. So the CDN that I use in Bootstrap. So let's go ahead and actually get that CDN. The link is in the description below. So get this CDN and use the CDN instead. If I try later on, I'll try to find the link where I got that CDN, and then I'll be able to post it in the link. But for now, everything works fine. So I just copied that CDN from Bootstrap, and I from GitHub, my GitHub page, which is this one here. So I'm going to put this link in the description. So I just got this from Bootstrap, and then I simply pasted it in my source code right here. So now that I've refreshed the page and everything seems fine, so you can just go here and then change something that you want, or you can even leave it as default. So you can change this to be true and then submit. And then you can see now that's alert button. So you can go even here and then change this back to false, or change anything here, change this to be this, and then you can actually update that, and then you can actually see that information alert. Okay, so you can also delete this, and also to should give you an alert. So to do deleted, so you can press OK, and then you can see that to do is gone. So now our functionality all works fine. So my bad, I messed up this part of the code. So now everything works fine. Now what we need to do now is to just get the link to this button. So if you see these buttons right now, they don't actually work, they don't do anything. So now I want to fix these links right here. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to my page here, and I'm going to go to I think it is, let me just bring this back here. So I'm just going to go to add views, and then in here we have some buttons that need to be updated. Okay, not here actually, it's actually let me see, yes, it's actually here. Okay, so in here we have some buttons that there are some links that need to be updated, and these links are in here. So what you're simply going to do is update these links in here, and then that should work. So let's start from this part of the code. So for the home button, what we can do is you can just add in this following code. So what you're going to do is just adding this to update the path. Okay, so we're going to say URL 4, so it's going to be URL underscore 4, and then you're going to pass in this. You're going to say get underscore to do. to-dos, okay, which is just get to-dos is this function right here. So get to-dos is this function right here. So get to-dos, so we're going to return that to the home page whenever I press on that button. So we are going to keep it get to-dos, and then for here we're going to say we're going to do is also delete the the hashtag, and then add in the following. So we're going to add in this following code. So we're going to say URL underscore 4, and we're going to pass in this code. We're going to add in sorry, going to be a single quote, add underscore to do. That's basically it. So let's go back to our front end, and then let's try to refresh this. So if I go back here, you can see we're going to go to the home page. If I go back here, we're going to add to do. If I go back here, going to the home page. Now let's fix this. Okay, so now this is going to return also back to us to the home page. So I'm going to copy this part of the code and then paste it there. So I'm going to copy this and then go find that navigation bar button, which is up here, and then paste it here, and then you can change this to be to do okay, to do up, and then the start, and then you can go in here and then you refresh. Everything should change as usual. If you press this, it take you back to home. If you press this, take you back to home. If you press this, they add to do. So go add some to do here, get breakfast, and then okay, submit that, and then it's going to tell us successful. We're going to add another one. It is going to they're going to do physics homework. So we're going to homework, so just say homework, I believe is one word. So just type in here this is going to be do physics homework, okay, something like that, just something random, and then we're going to submit that as well. So you can see we have these multiple to do's in here, and you can go and actually update to do, and then you can update anything you want. So do this morning and then update, and you can see it has been done there. You can see it has been put on top of it because it has been updated recently. And then you can also go ahead and actually delete this stuff if you want. So if you go ahead and actually click on delete, and this we're going to delete it, and you can see I have only one more there. So guys, that's how you can create a simple to do app using Flask API, sorry, Flask and MongoDB database. Okay, so guys, that's all for this tutorial, and I hope this tutorial is helpful for you, and you guys have learned something from this tutorial. So if you like this tutorial, like this channel, subscribe to my YouTube channel, give the video a thumbs up, and yeah, leave a comment below on whether I did bad or I did good. And I have other tutorials on my YouTube channel, Fast API using Fast API in React, Fast API by itself and stuff like that, building an e-commerce API in Fast API, building an inventory management system using Fast API in React. I have all that on my YouTube channel. I have how to build an API in Flask. I have other tutorials on Flask as well. So if you guys are interested, you can check that out, and yeah, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. So thank you for watching. See you guys in the next tutorial. Keep safe.